And what are some of the inspirations in your music career? What are some bands that or artists that inspired you?
I would say, man, so I grew up, in Orlando, Florida. I grew up in, typical, pretty, middle class, great middle class family, stuff like that. And my parents were big music lovers. My dad always was a huge Tom Petty fan, and always played Led Zeppelin and was into a lot of that. My mom loved everything. She was great. I had an older brother named Mike, who's one of my biggest role models in music. And at the time when I was growing up, he was playing a lot of Smashing Pumpkins, a lot of STP, a lot of Nine Inch Nails and Metallica. He's a huge Metallica fan, and there was a lot of that kind of growing up, but I didn't really find my musical identity. I would say the first band that ever really gave me a true musical identity was probably when Hybrid Theory from Linkin Park came out. That was the most defining record for me ever as a musician. There was a band before that kind of got me into it. I would say there was a band called Orgy from Los Angeles. They covered that song Blue Monday. That kind of got me to pay attention for sure. But the first time I heard Chester Bennington sing, and the first time I heard how wonderful those songs were, I was like, who the F is that? I don't know if we can speak French on this podcast.
You absolutely can.
I speak a very specific dialect of French, I'll tell you. But yeah, man, I would say, man, the first time I heard Hybrid Theory, I was hooked. And then, bands like Stain came around. Break the Cycle was a huge album for me, as a kid. And, I was, I guess at the time, really discovering music, and that band really did. And then Alice in Chains came, Tool came, then as I got older, Chevelle, Breaking Benjamin, and, I would say a lot of those really straightforward kind of hard rock bands. 3 Days Grace was a big influence. Nickelback is a huge influence. I know I'm gonna probably catch all kinds of hate for that, but I love Nickelback, and they're a huge influence. And then I would say I always loved new wave. I always loved I liked a lot of the kind of the post early 90s kind of shoegaze sound, like the college rock was always cool for me. But I would say those are the biggest influences, man. Linkin Park, Stain, Tool, Chevelle, and I would say, as I've gotten older, definitely heavier music definitely played a part. But when it comes down to the roots, man, I've always wanted to kind of take a lot of that musicality and that honesty that grunge had and try to apply it to something that was more rooted in the mainstream sound, for sure.